What's up everyone, welcome to your very first Adobe After Effects tutorial. And in these next couple tutorials I'm going to be going over every single thing you ever wanted to know about Adobe After Effects. So if you're a beginner and you just opened up After Effects and you have no idea what all this stuff is or what you're even looking at, then this is a great place to start. And if you're an expert in After Effects, then I'm going to be going over some advanced video editing graphics. So I hope you enjoy. So let's go ahead and get started. And before we even get started, I wanted to tell you guys one thing. Make sure you're watching all of these tutorials in high definition. I'm going to put a link in my description box on the right hand side, and trust me, it makes a world of difference. So aside from that, now let's get to the After Effects tutorial. Now before we get started, I want to tell you guys that all of the work that you do when you're working with After Effects, you're going to be saving it with the AEP extension. That means After Effects Project. So anytime you see this extension right here, that means that you can be working with it in After Effects. Anything without this extension, you're in the wrong program. Another thing I want to tell you guys, just because it's going to come in handy, is that whenever you use a video or a footage, you don't actually, and you import it, you don't actually copy it again in this program. What it does is After Effects uses that video from the same spot it is and doesn't copy it to a new space on your hard drive. And this is so that the project files can remain small, but whenever you export, that's when it creates a whole new file. So in case you're wondering why your projects are smaller than even the video, then this is why. Now all of the material that's going to come under this project panel is, I'm going to be calling it footage. So let's go ahead, and the first thing that you usually want to do is go up to File, Import, File, and we want to input a movie or something like that. Just for basics, I'm going to go ahead and input any movie. This is one of me and my friend in Myrtle Beach. I'm not going to be doing anything with it. I just wanted to show you guys how to import. So again, to import file, find your movie, double click it, easy enough. So now that you have this video, it's going to appear under your project panel just like any other video you import. And again, if you input more video, it's just going to all organize right here. Now once you have your video open, you have a lot of different things that you can do with it. For beginners, if you double click on it, it's going to open in a new panel called the footage panel. Now this is pretty much just so you can get a better look of what you're working with, and it just gives you some more detail and just stuff like that. It's really just a lot like a player, like Windows Media Player or anything like that, but it's built in After Effects. Now that we know what the footage and project is, another thing that we're going to be working a lot with is the tools panel right here. Now a lot of these tools, the ones with the little triangle right here, they have a drop down menu where you can pick a different variation of these tools. So for this rectangle tool, it's going to allow you, when we're working on compositions, to select like, how would I say, like circles and triangles maybe. But in anything with no triangle, it's just one tool. So this selection tool, this is a hand tool, and this is a whole bunch of tools. So we're going to be going over the tools in depth later, but for right now I just wanted to show you guys where it is, and whenever I refer to our tools panel, this is where it is. And again, the project panel is where all of our footage is stored. And another thing I want to tell you guys about the project panel, whenever you start getting a lot of footage right here, you're going to want to organize it into folders. To make a new folder, go ahead and create this button. It says create new folder, and you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name my new folder. And anytime you want to move something into your folder, go ahead and move it in. And anytime, one second. make sure you have this selected. Go ahead and drag it into your folder. And then you can see it's indented a little bit, and that means it's in your folder. And anytime you want to hide the contents, just press this little triangle. Anytime you want to show them, just press it again. So that's how you can organize footage. So aside from that, all of these panels right here, we're gonna wanna sometimes learn how to rearrange them, resize them, or open new ones. So to rearrange them, just go ahead and click this gray area right here, and you can drag it to anywhere you want. So go ahead, and as you can see, if I want my project panel over here, just let go. But I'm gonna want mine over here, so go ahead and click project and drag it over to the left. Now that we learned how to move around our panels, anytime we want to resize a panel, just go ahead and drag it, and this is going to give you more information. And notice that once you resize one of the panels to either side of it get either smaller or bigger. So rearrange that, play however you like it. And the last thing I'm going to be going over this tutorial before we move on to actually the fun stuff is anytime I'm working with a panel and you don't see it, say you don't want this footage one, or you don't have it at all, go to Window and go over to all of these things right here. And what these are panels. Anytime there's a check mark next to them, means that it's showing. Anytime there's not, means it's not up there. So go ahead and get all the ones you want. See, once we click that, tool panel disappears, and once we click it again, it pops right back up. So that's pretty much the basics of After Effects and how do you call it, the interface of it. So just make sure you find your way around, and those were the very basics. So anything we're going to be going over later, I'll show you how to do it. But once you got a good feel pretty much of After Effects, then you can move on to my next tutorial where we will be creating our very first composition. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you learned something, study it, and once you're good with the interface, move on to my next tutorial. Thanks. What's up everybody, welcome to your second After Effects tutorial. And in this tutorial we're going to be creating a basic composition. So before we even get started, in case you messed anything up or I got something different from last time, go up to Window, Workspace, and go to Reset Standard. And what this is going to do is reset your workspace to the basics. Just go ahead and discard changes. And I just did this to make sure that me and you were on the same track and your panels weren't laid out different than mine or anything. And another thing before we get started, make sure you're watching this tutorial in high def. There's a link in my description box on the right hand side of the screen. Now that we got the same looking workspace and everything like that, let's go ahead and create a new composition. And what a composition is pretty much like the thing you're gonna edit. It's pretty much the main thing we're working with, if I didn't make it clear last time. So go up to composition and type new composition. And for 99% of the time, you're just gonna want to leave these at default. If you know what you're doing, then you can change those around, but if not, then just leave them how they are. And one thing I want to go over here before we get started, well, let me first tell you guys how to add footage to your composition. To add footage to your composition, open your composition panel so you got this black screen, just the background with nothing on it. Go over to whatever footage or video clip you have, hold it down, and bring it over and let it go. That's the easiest way to add footage to your composition. Just grab the footage, drag it over, and let it go. Now once we have some footage, now I can tell you guys what I was going to tell you before. Whenever I'm talking to you guys about footage and time, there are two different ways that you can edit the time. One is by dragging this thing called a CTI, or current time indicator, and you can just drag it, and as you can see, it moves simultaneously on the timeline and in your composition panel. Another thing that you can do if you want to go to the exact point is double click this and you can edit time right there. Edit the spot you want to go to. So let me just move this to beginning and it will go to the beginning of the clip. Now once you do that, we're ready to move on to the next thing. And if I didn't tell you guys already, which I don't think I did, anytime you add a source to your composition, it becomes known as a layer, and it'll show up down here. And down here are all the layers of your composition. So now that we learned how to add sources to our composition, let me teach you guys how to use the composition panel so it's like 100 times more effective. To zoom in on the composition panel, you can either use this, which is zooming in, or you can use a very effective shortcut, which is pressing the comma on your keyboard, which zooms out, or the period on your keyboard, which zooms in. Another thing you can do is scroll. If you have a mouse wheel on your thing, you can scroll in and out, and that's another very handy thing. Now, whenever you're working, as I said, this is one way to go and adjust the time on your timeline, and also here. But if you want to adjust it frame by frame, like you're making a very I don't know, careful graphic, and you're gonna want to add it to every frame, you can use the page up, which moves the frame back one frame, or the page down, which moves it frame by frame forward in time. And if you hold it down, it scrolls back, and if you hold it forward, it scrolls forward. And again, those two things are page up and page down. Now, actually, I'm going to stop my tutorial right here, since I think we learned enough for right here, and my file is getting kind of big. But in the next tutorial, I'm going to be going over the next couple things you can do that'll help you out on the composition window. So make sure to watch that, and thanks for watching. What's up, everyone? Welcome to my third After Effects tutorial. And in this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to find your way around the more advanced features of the composition panel. Now, one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was something called safe zones. Now, what safe zones are, well, let me explain to you how editing video works. Whenever someone makes a video using After Effects, not 100% of the video gets produced when you export the video. There's a little bit of video around the corner that gets kind of cut out, and this is due to the fact that not all video is the same, and not all devices used to record the video is the same. So just to be safe and to make sure that all the video is going to record on your TV or computer or wherever you're watching it out, the computer or After Effects cuts out a little space around the edge of the movie. So if you have something like a word or something on the little edge that's getting cut out, that's why it's going to happen. Now, if you're wondering, alright, how much of the space gets cut out, and you can either guess which way, how much of the screen you think is going to get cut out, or you can press the apostrophe key on your keyboard. Not the comma, the apostrophe key. And as you see when I press it, this little thing toggles up. Now, you can see that you have two safe zones, the action safe and the title safe. The action safe, anything in this, you're guaranteed that it isn't going to get cropped out. So whenever you want to make an effect, you want to make it on the whole screen, but just remember, in some of the times, it's going to get cut out right here. And the title safe is the area where you're guaranteed that your title is going to show. So just to be safe, make sure all the effects you add are in the action safe. Make sure all your titles are in the title safe, and this will guarantee that you will have a standard produced video no matter what platform you're looking at it on. Now, another thing that I want to show you is control apostrophe brings up the grid. So hold down control or command if you're working on a Mac and press apostrophe. And as you can see, this makes a nice green grid on your thing. And this is very useful whenever you're working with compositions or making effects. When you're working frame by frame and it's hard to remember what your last one was. And this grid just comes in handy a lot. So again, that's hold down Control and press apostrophe on your thing, and that'll take care of it for you. And another thing that's going to come in handy is if you hold down Control and press R. And what this is going to do is bring up the ruler. Again, R for ruler. That's an easy way you can remember it. And this is another way of measuring exactly where your graphics are. And each of these numbers stand for pixels, just in case you wanted to know. Now let me go ahead and move my video a little, and I want to get rid of my ruler actually. And as you can see, we have a black background right now. Now the trouble with this is anytime we're going to be working with black letters or making an effect that has black in it, this can be kind of hard to see sometimes. So anytime you're working with black letters or a black effect, you want your color of your background to be something else than black. So if you ever want to change your background, go up to composition, go down, guess what one it is, background color obviously, and double click this and you can pick the color of your background. Just select the color, press OK. As you can see, we now have a red background or whatever one you didn't pick. Now if you're a native to Photoshop or anything like that, then you're probably used to the background that's like a gray and white checkerboard, like whenever you delete your background layer. So if you like that and you're not used to working with a solid color background, what Adobe did is incorporate that in right here. This is toggle transparency grid, and go ahead and press that, and as you can see, you now have a transparent background. That's what this white and gray checkerboard means. It doesn't show up on your thing, it just shows up as completely white. So again, if you want to toggle that, press it again, and you got your red background just how you wanted it. So now that we have learned the very advanced parts of the composition panel, you're ready to move on to the next tutorial. So I hope you enjoyed learning the more advanced parts of this panel, and make sure to check out my next tutorial. Thanks.